How's it going, Canuck fans? David here. Today, I'll be addressing the second half of the hot takes that I received on Twitter.
Enjoy the future, folks. Here it is right now. That's an end zone. Score! Pettersson, score!
So last week, I posted a video where I responded to hot takes which I received from a tweet that I made. And today I'll just be doing the other half. And there are 9 of these to get through, so I'm going to be going at a pretty fast pace, so let's get into it. So the first one here is from @Pt.2. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. They said, EP will challenge for an Art Ross, loses to McDavid on last night in an odd repeat of history when Forsberg beat out Naslund. I'm not sure if they're talking about EP challenging this year or in future years. If they're talking about this year, then I definitely don't think EP will challenge for the Art Ross just yet, because there's still guys like McKinnon, Kucherov, and McDavid, and I don't think who are like point monsters, and I don't think Pettersson is quite at that level yet. I think in a few years though, however, if that's what he's talking about, then I'm going to agree that he will challenge for an Art Ross. I don't necessarily know about the losing to McDavid on the last night thing, just because of how like rare that situation was, Forsberg beating out Naslund. I guess I'm going to say I disagree with that. But I definitely think that EP will challenge for an Art Ross. So the next hot take is from @ThePizzaGuy, and they say, Bo is going to take his wife's last name, and that's why Canucks are waiting so long to announce his captaincy. I don't know if this one's a joke or if they're being serious. I'm going to hope it's a joke. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to disagree if it's serious, though, because I think they just want it to be for his 50th anniversary. For the season's for the Canucks' 50th anniversary. Also, last year, he was a bit too young at 23 and just coming off the Sedins. So, I think they just waited because they wanted to wait a year and see how he handled the assistant captain before getting the captaincy. So the next hot take is from @JoeTX_. He gave me an idea actually for a previous video of mine, so definitely follow him on Twitter. They said 3 hot takes. So the first one, Boeser will sign a bridge deal for $6.5 million and will not miss camp. I agree that Boeser is not going to miss camp. I do not believe that either side wants that. And second part, I think he's going to get more than $6.5 million. I mean, he definitely deserves it. Both of his seasons in the NHL, he's been on pace for 33 goals or more. Of course, health has kind of been an issue. However, I do think that his production could have been even better last year if he would have had a full offseason. And he really has scored so many goals for this team that I see him getting 7. I do agree that it will be a bridge. However, I just don't think it will be for as low as 6.5. Next, Eriksson will not be on the Canucks opening night roster, and I'm going to agree with that. I think that there is a tension there between Eriksson and the Canucks, and even Green spoke out about it, and he didn't necessarily compliment. Like usually when you'll hear a coach talk about their player, they'll really like talk about how amazing, whatever. Like they'll really say only positive things, and Green basically said, I have respect for his career and not much, like he didn't really add anything else about Louis Eriksson as a player or how valuable like he is to the team. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he's not on opening night roster. So I'm going to agree with that JoeTX_. Then finally, Sutter will be dealt at the trade deadline. And so since I'm agreeing with Eriksson being moved before opening night, that probably means that a Sutter deal will not be required, which means that there is a chance Sutter does get traded at the trade deadline. And I think Sutter will get traded based on how Adam Gaudette plays. If Adam Gaudette fills that third-line center role and produces more offense than Sutter, and not horrible defensively, then I think, yeah, Sutter could very well be traded by the trade deadline. So I'm going to agree with @JoeTX_ again on this one. But again, that's assuming Eriksson gets moved before opening night, because if Eriksson isn't moved, then this team is going to have to do something to free up cap. So, and that could very well be Sutter or Tanev. Next, @NucksH, so Nucks_hockey, They said Jake Virtanen gets 20 plus goals next season, and I love Shotgun Jake. I think he's one of my favorite players on the team, but I'm going to disagree here. I just don't see Jake Virtanen getting that many goals. And with the forwards we added like Miller, Ferland, and Pearson for a full season, I don't see Virtanen starting. He struggled to get in the top 6. He struggled to get in the top 6 last season. How is he going to be there this year with all those guys in front of him? He needs to have one hell of a training camp, and I would love to see it. He had 15 last year, but remember, he was gifted a lot of, it was challenging to get into the top 6 at times. However, with some of the injuries, he had moments with EP. He had good opportunities with Horvat, and it didn't really happen for him. And he started the year so hot, and I hope he can hit 20. And I think his up end, it's definitely in there somewhere. But for that to happen, he needs to get the opportunities, and I just don't see him getting the opportunities to hit 20 goals. So I'm going to disagree. Next is from @AndrewLens. He says Juolevi makes the team out of camp, stays in the NHL the whole season, and scores 40 to 50 points. And I like Juolevi. I'm not ready to write him off of the bust yet. But I don't see him getting 40 to 50 NHL points in his rookie season. Look, Dolan just had 40-something points, and he got nominated for Rookie of the Year. And with the guys in front of Juolevi that he'd have to beat out to even make this roster, I think making the team out of camp is a stretch, and then him getting 40 to 50 points is just, I don't see it happening. If this is two separate ones, like Andrew means like one hot take is that'll make the team out of camp, and the other one is that he gets 40 to 50 points, then maybe he'll make the team out of camp. I'm still going to overall disagree, though. Next, @Fred Sasakamoose, they said Jim Benning wins General Manager of the Year award. And I'm not trying to be negative, but in my last video I said I don't see Vancouver finishing first place in their division or even second place in their division. And for Jim Benning to win GM of the Year award, all of his acquisitions would have to have great seasons. And not only that, but we also need some luck. We need to stay healthy. Markstrom would have to do what he did last season. And as I said, the team will have to have an outstanding record. And that's just so much that needs to go right. And I'm just going to disagree because I don't see Vancouver. I see us as a bubble team next year. It's just where I believe we're going to be. And so I'm going to have to disagree here with Fred. So @JillaG04. They say, hot take, Thatcher Demko takes over as number 1 by season's end and into the playoffs. Pretty much 2 hot takes. So yeah, like @JillaG04 said, it's kind of 2 hot takes because they're assuming we get into the playoffs. And I think playoffs are possible. And I'm going to agree with that because I said we're a bubble team. But just to be on the positive end, I'm going to say that we do get into the playoffs. However, for us to get into the playoffs, I think Markstrom needs to have an outstanding season and do what he did last season. And if he gets injured, not necessarily that I don't trust Demko for us to make the playoffs, it's that it's a lot on him. And we're going to be bringing up someone from Utica. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be DiPietro? Is it going to be McIntyre? Is it going to be Bachman? I don't necessarily have full confidence in them. I love DiPietro. I think he will be a great NHL starter in a few seasons. I don't think he's ready yet, and it's a very young tandem. So I don't think both of those things happen. I don't think Demko takes over and Vancouver makes the playoffs. If they're 2 individual hot takes, and I guess it's possible Demko takes over as number 1 if Markstrom gets injured or doesn't repeat, but I don't see both of those things happening. Those are my thoughts on the hot takes that I received on Twitter. I really enjoyed filming these past 2 videos, and I love interacting with people on Twitter. I just hit 50 subscribers. Thank you so much. It's been 2 months since I've been doing this now, and I've had so much fun. I'm going to keep popping out content, especially during the season. I plan to do post-game reactions, and I have a bunch of good ideas, which I'll let everyone know soon. So, yeah, please follow me on Twitter if you don't, @FanVancouver. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and go Canucks, go.